Hey, Bill. I'm hanging in there. How about you? Nope. Today's not an auction. Today's the relaunch of the Coins of the World series. I'm planning on doing this for a while. It's just taking me a while to actually get around to doing it. I should get going here in a few minutes. Oh, it's basically just going to be teaching people about various different world coins and ancient coins will be covered in it. A place for people to ask questions, hang out, see cool coins they wouldn't have otherwise seen, because I'm going to be, throughout the course of the series, I'll be covering individual countries and showing a wide spread of different coins from a lot of places around the world. Hey, Coin Captain. Hey, you're very welcome, man. And hopefully this series will garner more interest in people for collecting world coins. That's the main goal. Do I know anything about the 1971 2-pence error? I'm gonna assume you mean from Britain, right? There are a lot of countries that had a 2-pence. Yeah, Britain, UK, basically, more or less the same thing. I'm not familiar with that one specifically. But as we delve into everything, that's one of the things that we'll be looking into and learning together is some of the various world coin errors and varieties and all that kind of thing. Because there's a lot of them out there. I'll touch on that today as well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully some more people will filter in. All right, so again, this is the relaunch of the Coins of the World series. I originally started this last year, and it unfortunately kind of fell by the wayside. It was supposed to be a weekly show, and just a lot of things happened, and time became a factor and all that kind of thing. So now I'm finally at a point where I'm trying to get it relaunched. My goal is to make this a weekly show. Today is basically going to be, a lot of it's going to be introduction to the show and what it's going to be about. And I do have a wide spread of coins I'll be showing today. Eventually, I'll be getting into, basically doing episodes that are going to be on individual countries. Of course, some countries are going to require multiple episodes, we'll get it all figured out as we go. Get our system set up. I'm probably going to do it as a live series this time. Last time I was going to do it as basically just shooting the video and then posting it up, but I think I'm going to do it as a live series this time. Just give more people a chance for interaction and being able to ask questions live and all that kind of thing. I think it'll be fun. So to begin with, one of the big goals I've had for this show is, hey, John, I want to get more people into collecting world and ancient coins. I understand the attraction of collecting American coins, obviously, because I do as well. And a lot of people, I think, have a misconception that coins from other countries aren't worth anything, and thus they're not worthy of being collected. And that honestly could not be farther from the truth. And in fact, as much as people may not realize it or may not want to hear it, there are many countries out there who hands down beat America in coins in every category but one. And the only category that America has not been beaten in yet is that the highest price a coin has ever sold for is still an American coin. So that's the only category that we haven't been beaten in yet. Things like design quality, we get beat hands down by many other countries. The capabilities and quality of the mints, we're not number one. Number one is the Perth mint. The one that sold for the highest. Hang on, let me look it up real quick. But the Perth mint is actually considered to be the best mint in the world, and that's of course in Australia. So we don't win in that category either. In fact, I don't even think we're in the top 5. Let's see real quick. I am selling only okay. The number one highest selling coin, coin real quick, in history is the 1794 over 5 flowing hair silver dollar at $10 million. So that's the only thing that we still rule in, is that we have the highest selling coin ever. And then, in fact, the number 2 highest selling coin ever was a 1933 gold double eagle for $7.6 million. And then number 3 is the St. Gaudens double eagle, 1907 at $7.6 million. But then after that, you get into foreign coins. It's the number 4 is the Brasher doubloon from 1787 at $7.4 million. And then number 5 is the Edward III florin, 1343. It's a gold florin at $6.8 million. How many are out there of that flowing dollar? As far as anybody knows, it's the only one that's ever been known. A big bag of foreigns. We don't know where to even start organizing them. Foreign coins are cool. I got you, John. My recommendation. Hang on, I'm getting a red line. I'm gonna try and take care of that real fast. Give me 1 second. All right, there we go. Back to green. Yeah, my recommendation, if you're just starting out, John, and you got a big bag of foreign coins, we basically, the way we do it, even now, this is how we did it when we started, and this is how we do it now, is, when you get those, is we start out just basically organizing them by size, and then just start going through them. I mean, as you go through them, you're going to learn how to identify countries, and of course, that's going to be the next thing, is just organizing them by country. And then after that, as you start putting books together, whatever, you'll organize them by date and by denomination. However you want to do it. So, all right, then what were we talking about? We're talking about mints. Okay, so as I said, the best mint in the world is the Perth mint. So we don't win in that category. And I was saying also, I don't even know if we're in the top 5 because the Canadian Royal or the Royal Canadian Mint is better than ours. Uh, the uh, the Royal Mint in London is better than ours. The Austrian Mint is better than ours. The primary mint for Germany, the one that's in, I wanted to say, I think it's in Berlin, is better than ours. So yeah. And okay, so the thing about foreign coins is you've got, oh yeah, definitely. The Austria's mint just had it this year, as you all know, Bill, because you've been collecting the silver rounds for it. The Austrian mint just is celebrating their 825th anniversary this year of continuous operation. So there are some mints out there that have been operating on and off for a longer period of time, but the Austrian mint has been 825 years continuous. Every year they've made coins. So of course, when you have 825 years of experience under your belt, you're going to make some fantastic coins. And I think the German mint is actually the oldest. Let me double check that. Almost positive. What is the oldest coin mint? No, not coins. Operating. Oh, no, okay. The world's oldest continuously running mint is the Monet de Paris in France, which was founded in 864. And in fact is the 8th oldest company overall in the world. So the French mint, Monet de Paris, is the oldest operating mint in the world. So okay, so right now there are, I don't know the exact number, but I'd say roughly I think there's like 186 countries in the world, and then probably easily 100 countries that don't exist anymore. And pretty much every country that has existed has coins, almost. Some of them you do got to get pretty old to be able to find coins for them. Of course, I get not even getting into ancients because obviously the ancient Roman Empire doesn't exist anymore. The ancient Egyptian Empire doesn't exist anymore. Although Rome and Egypt do still exist, but it's kind of a separated thing. But you probably notice you rarely ever see Scotland coins out there. And that's because Scotland's part of the UK. So they just use UK coins. They don't mint their own. The reason why you see the Irish coins is because Ireland is divided into 2 parts. You have Northern and Southern Ireland. One half of Ireland is part of the UK. The other half isn't. And the 2 halves are constantly fighting because of that. Oh, thanks, Bill. Yeah, I definitely love collecting ancients, and ancients are going to be covered during this series for sure. Getting into countries that don't exist anymore, even more modern, things like the USSR don't exist anymore. But they're still, you can still get the coins from them. Czechoslovakia doesn't exist anymore. It's Czechoslovakia and a couple other countries just kind of unified and became the Czech Republic. So that's another example of a more modern country that doesn't exist anymore. You get into German coins, you're going to find And this is something if you're going to collect your world coins, you're going to want to watch out for. Is for the time period that Germany was separated into East and West, you're going to have East German coins and standard German coins, which is West Germany. So you got to watch out for that. Of course, East Germany and West Germany don't exist anymore. It's just Germany now. But you're going to want to keep an eye out for those because you're going to, when we first started getting into German coins, we would find dates and look them up, and we would be like, well, okay, this isn't the coin that it's showing. And then I got an idea. I was like, okay, wait. This will be during the time period that the Berlin Wall was still standing. So I went back and I looked up East Germany and West Germany, and sure enough, that was the case. It was, there was an East German coin. So that's one of the things we still haven't done yet that we need to do eventually with our collection is we haven't gone through our full Germany book for the years that East and West existed to figure out, which are which and label them properly. Well, that's going to be a big task, so we'll get around to it eventually. German desiccated republic. That was a mess with stamps. Oh, yeah, I would imagine, because they probably both had their own stamps and everything, too. And then, of course, you also have the, the Third Reich period when you had all the Third Reich coins as well. Excuse me. Okay, so I want to get into a kind of a comparison here. This is the next thing I want to do. To show you guys that, and for anybody who watches the replay on this later, the reason why you should, or yet another reason why you should collect world coins, I should say. So say your favorite coins are silver dollars. So here we've got a Morgan. These are of course, very popular American silver dollars. Say these are your favorite kind of coin to collect. It's a silver dollar. This is a 1880. Yeah. Bring out my other thing here so I know what the heck I'm doing. There we go. So yeah, this is an 1880. Certainly a beautiful example of a silver dollar from America. Well, if this is your favorite kind of coin to collect, what happens when you collect them all? Well, of course, you got a fantastic collection. But why not look into other countries? Because other countries got you covered. Here's an example of a Canadian silver dollar. So, of course, American silver dollars are 90% silver. This one's 80%. Nothing wrong with that. Canada, flip sideways. So this is a 1953 Canadian silver dollar. Great design. So who else has you covered for silver dollars? Well, all right. How about Finland? Here's an example of a 10 marka from Finland. This is an example of a 50% silver large coin. How cool of a design is that? 1970, 10 marka, Suomi, Finland. Woo. And of course, got the whole front is a gigantic portrait of this dude. So there's an example of a Finnish coin. All right. Who else has you covered? How about Venezuela? Here's an example of an 1887, and this is actually 90% silver. Here's an 1887 Venezuelan Bolivar, which is their dollar. And by the way, all of these have full series of coins, just like the American coins do. $18.87. I think you got to watch out for Venezuelan coins. They don't tell you the denomination of the coins. They tell you the grams. So you either have to learn the grams and learn what the grams are based on the denomination, or you have to look it up. So if you don't know what a bolivar is, you'd have to look up 25-gram Venezuelan coin from 1887, and then it will pop up with, you know, this is actually a 5 bolivar. It's not a 1 bolivar, it's a 5 bolivar. Oh yeah, reals are great. I got a, I think it was, I wanted to say it was a 1753 4 real yesterday. That's in about good. I got it for $2.50. I basically got it at Melt. That was awesome. So, all right, who else had you covered for silver dollars? How about Panama? Panama's got the Balboas, and they're all 90% silver, and they're all beautiful coins. Here's an example of a 5 Balboa from Panama. It's 90% silver. This coin has one full ounce of silver in it, which of course means the total weight of this coin is 1.1 ounces. This was from the Panama Olympics. This is a discus thrower. So here's an example of a big old silver coin. Oh, it's 0.925 silver. My bad. I thought I said 90%. It's 0.925, and it does have a full ounce of silver in this, as opposed to American coins that, unless you get into bullion, none of the American coins have a full ounce of silver in them. So 5 Balboas. Beautiful, beautiful design. All right, who else had you covered? We were just talking about Austria on their 825th anniversary. Well, how about an Austrian coin? This is an example of a 64% Austrian dollar. This is actually, they do shillings. This is a 100 shilling. 1976, my birth year. This is another Olympic commemorative. And then in the reverse, you got the 100 shillings with all the cool shield designs. Come on, in America, we don't have anything this cool. This is awesome. We need to get more interesting with our coin designs. There's an example from Austria. Who else? Who else can I show you today? How about Mexico? Oh yeah, the thalers are great. Thalers, you're looking into early 1900s and 1800s for those. But those are some beautiful coins. All right, so here's an example of a 10 peso from 1956 from Mexico. This is 90% silver. Le 900. Of course, anybody who knows Mexico coins recognize right off the vulture with the snake in his beak standing on the cactus. Libertad. So there's another example. We got two more to show you for silver. How about Belgium? Here's a 5 francs from Belgium. This is from 1851. This coin is listed, this is a XF coin, or EF. And this is an example of, for anybody who thinks that foreign coins aren't worth anything, I'm going to show you guys real quick. I actually have this one up. Let me switch views real quick to the browser. So, all right, we got 1953 right here. It is not the, oh, okay, this is this one, okay. 1953 5 franc. Mintage 2.427 million. You go over to XF40. Make sure. Oh, this is 1951, not 53. Okay, ignore everything I just said. This is the 1951. That's why I was looking for the thing. Okay, so this is the 51, no dot. So the yellow threw me off. So you got the 51 with the dot above the date. So of course we can look at our coin, get to the date, and you can see there's no dot above that date. So it's the no dot. So we go back to our browser. So we got the 51, no dot, and you go to XF40. List value is $100 on this coin. And this is the NGC website. I use this mostly for pricing world coins because NGC does do the best work for world coins as far as the main companies. Yeah, Bill, that's one of the reasons why we need to get more people into collecting, is because you're talking about a demand issue. So if we can get more people interested in collecting these, then you have a larger pool of people to sell them to, if that's what you're looking to do. There are a lot of world coin collectors out there. You just got to find them. And just like with American coins, if you have a Morgan dollar that says it's worth $400, that doesn't mean you're just going to walk up to somebody and sell it for $400. That means odds are you're going to get, $300, $350 for it. Because, of course, that person is also going to want a chance to be able to make a little bit of money on it later. Yeah, you can definitely give foreign silver for spot if you know somebody that doesn't know what they've got and they're willing to just give it to you. In fact, we get a lot of ours for spot. All right, so that's the example of the Belgium 5 franc at 5F. Very cool design. All right, now here's one that absolutely puts the rest of all of ours to shame. If anybody's familiar with the Bahamas coins, you know how cool the Bahamas coins are. There's an example of a $5 Bahama coin which barely fits into a 2x2 flip because this coin is so freaking big. This one's from 1972. This one is actually a proof, but I mean this thing spent a lot of time in a foreign silver pile, so it got a lot of contact marks on it and toning and all of that. So this would be what would be referred to as a compromise proof. But a very cool design. You got the pelican and the swordfish. That's very, very common for Bahamas designs. You got the ship with the sun over it on the shield. That's their their crest. And of course, with so many countries, you've got Queen Elizabeth. Because, of course, Britain almost took over the world at one point. Now, this coin, as I said, this is a huge coin. This is bigger than a silver eagle. And this coin has 1.25 ounces, so 1.25 ounces of silver in it. More silver than a silver eagle. And is bigger than a silver eagle. Imagine if we made our silver dollars this big. Or if they decided to make a silver $5 coin and it was this big. How cool would that be? So there's another example. Alright, so let's say silver, maybe not your thing. Let's say maybe you're more into large cents. Let's say you collect the American large cents. Well, here's an example of an 1840 small date. It's a nice example. It's an EF. Well, if you want, if these are your favorite coins to collect and you wanted to broaden your horizons, there are a number of places that got you covered, just like with the silver coins. How about Canada? Wrong one. Here's an example of a Canadian large cent that's in the same grade as that one. Actually, this one's even nicer. This one's actually AU. So this is not the same grade. So this is a 1910 Canadian large cent in AU. Now let's go even further back with Canada. I want to talk about large cent. This is a large cent. This thing is in a freaking dollar holder. And, that's all the gap there is left. This thing's almost the size of a Morgan dollar. And these are the old bank token cents from before the Royal Canadian Mint existed. And the banks were doing their own coins. So this is an example of an 1837 1 penny from the Quebec area. And this is a huge, large cent. So, all right, who else has you covered for large cents? Well, of course, a lot of you are familiar with British large cents. Here's an example of a British large penny. These are the size of American half dollars. We've got Britannia on the back. This one's from 1927. Who else got you covered? Here's a cool one. This one is an example from, some of you may have never even heard of this place. This is from Sierra Leone. And this is a brilliant uncirculated 1 cent from Sierra Leone from 1964. And this is roughly about the size of an American small dollar. And a very cool design. A rough place. It can be. Alright. Who else? How about Mexico? Alright, this is a 20 centavo, but I was running out of time for getting ready today, so I didn't have time to go hunt down a 1 centavo. But they do have some pretty good sized 1 centavos. This is a 1944. But if you like big copper, big copper is big copper, right? I just wanted to pull out a example of a large copper coin from Mexico before going live. So yeah, there's an example of a large copper from Mexico. So, all right. So there's some examples of the large. And, of course, what's the most commonly collected American coin? It's the Lincoln cent. So here's a BU 1956 wheat. And in fact, this is actually a graded. This is an MS66 red. Well, it would take me all day to give you all the comparisons for, small cents, if that's what you like to collect. Because pretty much every country that makes coins has a small cent. So if you just wanted to collect 1 small cent from every country around the world, you'd be looking at a final collection of about 300 coins. So you are definitely covered on small cents. Same with dimes. Pretty much every country out there has a version of a dime. I think actually Britain is the only one that doesn't, or one of the few that doesn't have a dime. They go from originally they went from the 3 pence to the 6 pence, and I think it jumped to the 20 pence. They might have had a 15 for a while, but they never had a 10. New pennies are bad in the U.S. They can be. If you can get good enough examples of them, then they can still be nice coins. It's just, you got that zinc underneath. So as soon as they puncture that copper sheath and the elements start getting into that zinc and it starts rotting into hydrozincite, then yeah, the penny is destroyed. They do need to do something about the whatever it is that they wash the coins in after they're done up, when they stamp the planchets and then they wash all the planchets. They need to do something about that because, all the spots that have been left all over the coins, that didn't used to be that way. But again, something that people forget to think about is the mint isn't making coins for us. When they make the coins, it's not, we're doing this for the collectors. We're doing this because we need to make money for this country to continue to have money to operate. They only make certain coins for collectors because they're nice enough to do that, and they know there's money to be made by doing it. But it's not their primary purpose as a company. Their primary purpose as a company, and the way they make the tons of money that they do, is by making the standard circulating coins so that we have money to spend at stores. So you got to kind of keep that into consideration when you're complaining about the mint, in that their job is, you have to remember, their job is not to make sure coins are perfect for you. It sounds kind of crass, but it is what it is. Now, the coins that are made specifically for collectors typically don't have those issues. Now, of course, yeah, you're going to have mint sets that are, the coins are going to come and they're going to already have contact marks on them. But that's because those coins are pulled out of the circulated coin and put into the mint set. So they've all, they go through the minting process and then along the conveyor, and then they dump down into the big bag, and then they select, pick them out and put them in the mint sets. The The only time they didn't do that was when they were doing the satin mint sets. Then, of course, those are specially prepared dyes and everything, so they didn't have all the contact marks and everything. And then same with proof sets. Proof sets, the proof coins are very, very carefully handled when they're making the proofs. So theoretically, every coin in a proof set should be either proof 69 or proof 70, because they're very, very careful about handling those. So, all right. Any questions so far? If I can answer it, I will. If I can't, I'll look it up. Anybody got questions? Okay. Well, if anybody thinks of any, let me know. All right, so now I'm just going to show you guys just some different various examples of coins from around the world. Again, as we get further into this series, we're going to do individual countries where we'll really focus on just individual coins from that country and talk about the mints and all that kind of thing. But for right now, I'm just going to show you guys some various examples. So here's an example of a silver 3 pence from Australia. In 1943, you see the D over there, that's actually the mint mark. And that does actually stand for Denver, because we actually struck a lot of the coins for Australia back in the day. Of course, another example of a country that's been ruled by Europe or Britain, well, the British monarchy. So you got King George the Younger on this one. This isn't a sale hidden. This is an educational show. All right, here's a beautiful example of a Netherlands coin. You got Juliana Koenig. I don't know how to say that name. Koenig. Koningen? I don't know. I probably butchered that. So anytime you see a coin that says Nederland, you'll know that's always the Netherlands. And this is a 1963 1 gulden. And they got the cool lion with the sword about to tear you apart on their crest. And then they got the little fish symbol over here, and then the little medical symbol over there. So there's a beautiful example of a Netherlands coin. And then here's an example of a coin from France, a silver coin. Is it the commerce symbol? I thought it was the medical symbol, because it looks like our medical symbol. You could be right. I will look it up and find out for sure. It is weird. Does that almost look like a double die? I need to look at that. I That's another thing is if you're into errors and varieties, you could find errors and varieties in every country's coins. No, that's dieware. Just kind of looked like it for a second. Yeah, I'm sure if you guys are, watch enough of Ken's videos when he's going through foreigns, he's found double dies and die cracks and die chips on foreign coins quite often. So all of that is in, we got to figure the minting process is exactly the same. So all of the errors and varieties that can happen anywhere. So, broad strikes, die blockage, anything. It can all happen anywhere around the world. So that's another example of a silver coin from another country. Hey, coin digging. Oh, by the way, hi hidden and hi ants, as I never said it. So now let's talk about, since we got a little bit of time left. So we here in America, of course, we have the, the basic, the silver coins. We got we used to have bronze coins. Now they're copper-plated zinc. And then we have nickel coins, or we have copper nickel clad. So let's talk about some of the metals that have been used around the world for other countries. There have been, let me see if I can find one real quick. I got a little box of just some random foreign stuff here. Let me see if I can find one. I will be better prepared in future episodes. All right, whatever. So we'll just go through them and talk about them. So actually, let me grab one from over here real quick. Hold on a second. Bear with me for one moment. All right, so here's an example of one of the metals that we've never used on a coin, which I'm actually surprised. Here is a coin that's actually struck on a brass planchet. Now, your benefit of brass is that it is going to resist pretty much every kind of corrosion you can throw at it. Brass is very, very good at not corroding. That's why they use them on ship turbines, is because the salt water is not going to affect them. So this is a 50 centimos from Peru, 1988. That's an example of a brass planchet. And then here's an example of what was probably the worst idea ever for coins. This is a straight up zinc planchet. And you can definitely see why it was a bad idea. The 1943 1 franc. From Belgium. Doing a straight up zinc planchet was just a terrible idea. And as you go through and you start getting into collecting world coins and you see a lot of world coins, one of the things you're going to notice is that these planchets never lasted long. You know, countries might use them for 5 years, 10 years at most, and then they switch it out to something else. Because, of course, they realize very quickly they're garbage. They deteriorate. So they're having to replace more and more coins because the coins aren't lasting as long as they're supposed to. So I don't have one handy, but another metal that was used a lot in France, actually, was stainless steel. They have a lot of coins out of France that were struck on stainless steel planchets. Aluminum was used in a lot of places. France, China, Japan, just to name a few. There's a lot of countries that did aluminum coins throughout the years. And as you can imagine, aluminum, is not a very strong metal, so a lot of them got bent, they got dented, they got dinged up pretty good. And that's why nowadays, if you can find high-grade examples of aluminum coins, they're actually worth a pretty decent amount of money. And it's because it wasn't a metal that would last the test of time unless it was taken care of back then. Or you get it out of like a mint set. That's another thing is if you like collecting through mint sets, pretty much almost every country that does foreign coins has a mint set. Not all of them, but most of them have a mint set that you can get. The proof sets. A lot of countries do proof sets, so you can get proof sets of the coins. Prestige proof sets, like we have here in America, that have the that special silver dollar in it. There's a bunch of countries out there that do that. Canada is one of them. Canada does prestige proof sets every year. Some countries like Canada take it even farther than we do, and they've got what are called prestige specimen sets, which those are just exquisitely struck coins that were very, very carefully taken and put into the sets. So they are all very, very high quality coins. Peppermint, spearmint, Denvermint. If you ever start your own mint hidden, you should call it the peppermint. Hey, Decone. All right, so we've only got about 9 minutes. Anybody got any questions? Anybody want to see anything? We're going to be covering ancients, so let me grab out some ancients to show you guys. Why not? Give me a sec. And another thing I forgot to mention for anybody who's new to the world of foreigns as a whole is silver rounds. If silver rounds are the way you like to collect, like the American Silver Eagles, that's another thing that a lot of other countries have you covered. For Mexico, you got the Libertad. For Canada, you got the Canadian Maple Leaf. Britain's got a bunch of them. They got the standard one. They got the Queen's Beast series. They got the Dragon series. Come on, get out of there. Get out. All right. Show you guys a couple of foreign coins since we've got a bit of time left. All right, so this one is going to be, this is from between 350 and 400 BC. It would be considered like a very fine. And it is from Maronia, Thrace. So this is a Greek ancient. Right now I'm going to be shooting for either Thursdays or Fridays. And kind of an afternoonish schedule for this series. And then, of course, we'll still be doing our standard Monday auctions. There's an example of an ancient Greek copper coin that was minted in Thrace. Here's an example of some Greek silver. This was minted in Illyria, and it is a silver drachma. This is a neat one. All right, Bill, thanks for coming out, man. And I'll be doing my best to help you guys with, when we go over the ancients, because that is going to be one of the parts of this series of showing you guys at least somewhat, on how to identify it. I'll show you guys some reference materials, especially for Romans. Like here's an example of a Roman. This one is a Claudius II Gothicus from 270 AD. This is a bronze. And for those of you that don't know ancients, you might think to yourself that, oh, okay, getting into ancients, it would be super expensive. And, just like anything else, it can be. It depends on what you go after. If you're going to go after gold coins, of course it's going to be expensive. But, there are some coins out there that you can get as low as, $10 for the ancients. For decent examples. All right, this one is another Claudius II Gothicus. This is 268 to 270 AD. This is not an example of a coin you could get for $10. This one will be closer to $100. But they're out there. You can get even the silver ones. You can get for fairly inexpensive. So it's not as expensive as you might think to get a decent ancients collection going. And this is something that during our auctions, I would love to be able to offer a lot more of these. It's just since we really only have like 3 buyers for them that on occasion right now. That's why we don't have them very often on there. For any of you who saw my bucket list videos, if you've ever watched those, when I jump on live and I'm like, I got one of my bucket list coins. Here's a very cool one for you. This one is from around 600 BC. This is close to the first coin ever minted. And it is tiny. And this is, was minted in Miletus. And it is a Greek silver 1/12 stater. And, to give you guys an idea of how small this coin is, let me get a dime real quick. Here is a 1/12 stater on top of a Jefferson dime. It's smaller than his head. So that is a tiny, tiny coin. But this is one of the original coins ever made by humans. It only goes back about, probably about 50 years farther back than this. And those are the original Electrum staters. Now these, of course, would have all been hand-hammered. But, I mean, think about the history of this coin. This coin is, how old is this thing? 2,600 years? 2650, somewhere in there? So whose hands could this coin have been in? So your average Greek soldier would have earned 12 of these in a month. This would have been, because they earned one stater per month serving in the military. So they would have earned, and with that, I mean, they could buy pretty much anything their heart desired. This was considered to be really good money back then. But it's very, very cool little coin here. And I was so stoked that I was able to actually get my hands on one of these. This is one of the pride and joys of my collection. Is this little stater. That is an awesome coin. Excuse me. Alright, let's see. Here's another example of a Roman silver. This is a Caracolla. 196 to 198 AD. It is a silver denarius in great condition. His full name was actually Caracolla Anton Caesar. And he was the son of Septimus Severus, which is this guy. This is another silver drachma. And his mother, that was his father. His mother was Julia Domna, which is this lady. And this is another silver denarius. So you got mother, father, and son right there in 3 coins. It's kind of cool. Let's see, we're here. We're here. Alright, let's see. Let's give you guys somebody a little more famous. How's that? As soon as I find it. Oh, here we go. Anybody who's ever seen anything having to do with a movie or a TV show or anything having to do with Julius Caesar, you'll know who this guy is. It is not Julius Caesar. Unfortunately, I do not own a Julius Caesar yet. That's on my list still. But here is Marcus Aurelius. Who at one time was one of Caesar's best friends. You can see this one's definitely been through some stuff over the years. You gotta remember, a lot of these were discovered, just from dig sites, so a lot of them tend to come out this way. And this is after they go through the restoration process that they even look this good. So there's a more famous emperor for you, Marcus Aurelius. And of course, the bronze do tend to, take the worst of it throughout the years. And then, of course, here's one that most people have heard of. Emperor Constantine. This is a very, very good example of an Emperor Constantine. Copper coin. Well, copper bronze. And one of the things I'll show you throughout the series, and I'll close with this because I'm actually already over by 5 minutes. On the reverse of bronze coins, you typically have 3 to 4 letters at the bottom. And those letters are the mint mark. And in a future episode, I will show you guys how to determine where these coins were minted from that mint mark. But that'll be for another time. So for right now, we're going to wrap it up. Because as I said, this is going to be basically an hour-long show. And this was mostly just an introduction back into the series. So thank you everybody for coming out, and hopefully you enjoyed the introduction back into the Coins of the World series. Hopefully we can interest a lot of people to come out and hang out and have fun and learn about foreign coins. That's the goal. God, I had a dry spot in my throat. So our next episode will be next Thursday. I want to try and shoot for doing it from 3 to 4. That would be Pacific time, because I'm in Arizona. So whatever that translates to for everybody else across the nation. For example, right now here it's 4:37. So that's going to be my goal. Oh yeah, the Roman coins alone, if you really wanted to go fully in depth on them, and by the way, guys, just a disclaimer, I am by no way an expert on anything. I'm just a collector who loves coins and sells coins. But I am in no way an expert. I do, however, know an ancients expert. He's a guy here in town. He's the guy I get most of mine from. His name is Tony. He runs a shop here in town called Glass Shop Coins. And he's the guy that's been teaching me about ancients. So what knowledge I have, I will share to you guys. But yeah, just the coins of Rome alone, you could do an entire series that would last a year just on copper. Are we in mountain time right now? Hang on. What time is it in Los Angeles right now? No, we're on Pacific. Because we're at the same time as Los Angeles, California right now. So right now we're Pacific because we don't do daylight savings. So when the next daylight savings hits and everything changes again, then we'll be on Mountain. Oh yeah, ancient and foreigns are great because that's one of those big ones that like one of my favorites is I've actually got a Cleopatra the Eighth Greek coin, which she was the famous one that took over Egypt and had the relationship with Mark Antony and all that kind of thing. And you think about that coin. Cleopatra could have held that coin. Mark Antony could have held that coin. Claudius could have held that coin. Caesar Augustus could have held that coin. Julius Caesar could have held that coin. And anybody down through the ages could have held that coin. That's one of the reasons why I love ancients. But anyway, so I'm going to get out of here. We got our normal Monday auction coming up this Monday. I hope you guys make it out. Just like last week, this week is going to be all new stuff. It's all new inventory. So hopefully we'll see you guys there. In a way, it is Pacific because y'all don't jump in. Yeah, right now we are Pacific. We'll be in Mountain Time when the next daylight savings happen. It's confusing for us too. And then and then next Thursday we'll have our episode 2, and I'll figure out where I want to start because there's so much to do in so many countries and so much fun stuff. But we'll figure it out. So, all right, I will see you guys on Monday. Hope everybody has a great weekend. And until then, thanks for coming out, and I'm out.